Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the TheComiCompodcast, Season 5, Episode 5. Recording this on January 30th, one of our last few episodes here on the channel before we switch over to the Uncensored Nerds Network, exclusively on Spotify, with a ton of other podcasts. Of course, the Random Nerdy Podcast, We Got Issues, are the mainstays over there, but we will be over there soon. So if you do not have Spotify, make sure you get it, because you'll be hearing myself and my podcast partner week in and week out. What's going on, Zach?
Not much. Just plugging along. Not a lot of change. Work, babies, Elden Ring.
Yeah, let's. So yeah, in the same week, we both became Elden Lords.
Wow.
I know. No. I know you're gonna say I've already been Elden
Two times Elden Lord.
Two times, yes.
Crowned twice now.
But in your 2025 playthrough, you and I have both become Elden Lords in the same week. So
Shadow of Erdtree now. Just kind of
now we're playing Shadow of the Erdtree for the next month until I get to play fucking Monster Hunter Wilds. So that's my goal, is to beat this expansion before that. So let's get into some stuff. We got a lot of cool articles, some good books to talk about, some community questions. So let's get rocking and rolling for this week's episode. Of course, you know it is right around the corner, a month and a half away. King Kong show, March 22nd, 2025 at the APA Hotel. Your boys, the Comic Con podcast, will be set up there with our buddy V. Ken Marion, who I've been talking to about my commission. He has been very busy. This week he just got the issue 1 of Power Lords came out from Oni Press, so he's got that going on. He's got some other stuff. He's got his Battle Soul Strikers.
They just put out an update for that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on with V-Ken, so make sure you follow him, make sure you follow us, and we'll be in the Artist Alley with a ton of other artists. And our buddy Scott Palachek is going to be there with Marcus. He told me he's got an issue 3 exclusive, so coming out from Dreamscape Publishing. So, you know, you've heard Scott on, we did the Kickstart October stuff, so that was issue 2. Issue 3 will be dropping soon, so you will definitely be hearing him on the updated channel once we switch over to the Spotify only. And then he actually has a second book, which he told me, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tease it out. Is that they do have a new title coming out under the Dreamscape Publishing that is completely the opposite end of Marcus. So we'll be hearing about that soon. So other than that, let's get to some community questions. We got one from Instagram and one from YouTube. So from the YouTube world, our buddy OG Comic Reviews 455 asked, "Gentlemen, I have a question. Red Band editions, are you taking them out of the plastic, or are you leaving them sealed?"
Oh yeah. Dude, out. I mean, I'm reading them. Yeah, I get it. You know, like I think back like the packaged ones, right? Like the Ultimate Fallout. Of course. So, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think you're going to get any value in these in terms of like there hasn't seemed to be any first appearances necessarily. I'm obviously not reading all the Red Bands, but yeah, it's different too, because right, the Ultimate Fallout it was almost like the 2 bags, right? It was bagged. No, it was just the black bag, right?
Yeah, it was black bag because you didn't the second printing was bag, so you didn't see the face.
Yeah. No, I take them out. And it's annoying because it's like you have to get scissors, right? So you cut them so you don't like screw it up, and it isn't. Then you got to cut across the top, 90-degree angle down the side too, so you can just peel it out, so you don't like ruin the book at all. But yeah, I'm opening them. You?
I mean, oh yeah, dude, you have to. It's the only way to read them. Come on,
yeah. You know, like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, you know, like they did those. Remember, DC did those black bags. I mean, they weren't red bands, but they did the black bags where like they had different variants. It was like a color version, the black and white, and then like the inks.
Yeah,
Walking Dead's did they've done them where it's been like exclusive covers type of thing, and similar thing, right? But the red band stuff, yeah, I mean, you gotta read it. It's the only way to actually see the additional panels or the different panels, to be honest. So
yeah,
I don't think they're changing. It's not like the 90s where they're coming with cards, right? Like some people like the X-Force ones and some of the Dark Horse Star Wars stuff to still see sealed with like a card. Like that's cool because it's just nostalgic. But I feel like the Red Band stuff, you need to open it up. You need to read it. Even all the Blood Hunt stuff. So
yeah, I just don't think the spec value, so to speak, is there to keep it bagged.
I don't think anyone's holding on to it for 10 years and being like, oh, I still got a sealed copy of this.
Blade Red Band #3.
Yeah, the Daredevil Helen Kitchen.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. So, good question. Thank you so much.
Not to mock you, if you want to keep them in the bag, go for it.
Yeah. Just our opinion.
No judgment. So. No judgment on you who bag it. All you guys who bag it. We're just raw doggers over here. So.
Yeah, we're readers.
We don't bag this up. We just raw dog it. So
yeah. Next up, Paperweight Collects goes, hey, what's something new listeners can expect from the Uncensored Nerds collab? That's an absolute great question, Paperweight. Yeah. And to be honest, so obviously one of the big things is, you all know we're readers. We love talking about our books. We love reading the books. We love talking about the reviews. I actually just got the first book that we will be reviewing weeks.
So why aren't you? This is like the third book. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the fact that I keep getting the books, and you don't share them with me.
Well, I literally just got it at 8:42. It's 9:04. We're recording.
Okay. Well, because it's happened with the other books. And then you get on the podcast. I just got it.
So I will tell you, the first book that we will be reviewing on the new podcast is called Blade Forgers from the Miranda Brothers. It's a follow-up from their massive hit We Live. It took them first two book together after 2 years, so it's a pretty big thing. It is FOC date is in February 10th. The official release is not until March 5th, but we already have Zack already have the first issue we have the first issue to review as soon as we are on the new podcast. So that's going to be like something that you're going to hear from us. We're going to get books well in advance to review them, not to do any type of spoilers, but just to kind of give you an idea, pre-FOC, so you can go ahead and pre-order them. So that's going to be at least one of the new things going on with the Uncensored Nerds.
Yeah, as well as, we'll be having more interviews with content creators, both, writers and artists and stuff as well. I think it'll be a little bit, obviously. I think there's going to be a lot of new things we're going to be doing. Like the core of what we said, the core of what we do will stay the same. But, I think as we go on, we're going to explore some new avenues. We're going to, Jess and I have talked a lot about maybe taking a few more risks, so to speak, and like trying some new things out. And so I think you might see more of that from us as well. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a new era. So, right. I mean, we've kind of been doing the same thing for a while and it works, and we enjoy what we've been doing the past couple of years, but we're ready to try some new stuff. So I don't know, sky's the limits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a transition period for sure, right? Our normal listeners, and then getting all the listeners from Uncensored Nerds, and what they think about us. And of course, we're going to continue to do the community questions. So as the new people ask us questions, we're going to be doing that. And then just, we gotta fit somewhere, right? It's it's a new family over there. It's under a new umbrella, so it's going to be fun. But once we dip our feet in the water and we're comfortable with things, like Zack said, we'll expand out to other stuff. So
yeah, we got some ideas.
Yes, we do.
Like Jello wrestling, live Jello wrestling, archery contests, stuff like that, dude.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. All right, so let's get into some articles before we talk comic books. First one coming up. This one's from CBR.com. So Bluey sets are coming soon to Lego with new BBC Studios partner.
I was like, wait, what are we talking about? Bluey? Hell yeah. Okay.
No.
Start over. Oh.
No, I'm not doing this.
Bluey Lego sets? Okay.
Bluey Lego sets. This was actually from early January, and I've been meaning to talk about it. And it was funny when Tim came on last week. I wanted to bring it up real quick, but yeah, that's not the article.
Well, real quick about Bluey. So I do think my son's moving a little on from Bluey. Like it used to be just Bluey. Like that's what he wanted to watch. And now he's been asking for he asked for Cars a lot. I've watched Cars tons of times recently in the past 3 weeks. And what was the other one? Cars. He likes Monsters Inc. How to Train a Dragon. He liked that one. Mm-hmm. So he's been asking for those. But I'm going to tell you, anyone out there with kids and stuff, and I'm new to the game, probably speaking to people who are like, yeah, no shit, dude. But I have seen some behavioral, maybe. We're not entirely sure. There's a lot of changes going on in his life right now anyway. But I definitely think some of those other shows, partly maybe are too stimulating at his age right now. I'm not sure. Bluey is very like I've talked before, how it's very geared towards like low stimulation for kids, but a good story, music, blah blah blah, animation. I think the other stuff is might be a little too stimulating for him because I've seen some like, attitude that comes.
Mm.
And also, side note, dude, have you ever seen the Cars movies?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All three of them?
Probably just the first one.
Okay,
Maybe the
yeah.
second one.
Dude, the second one is horrendous. It's horrendous. Let me talk about this real quick. So, Cars 1 is like, Lightning McQueen, he's racing.
Yep.
It's cool. It's a cool story. Cars 2, obviously, they kind of hit on Cars 1 with Mater.
Yeah, the tow truck.
What's the actor? Larry the Cable Guy, right?
Yep.
It was like popular.
Comedian. Yeah.
So the second one was like kind of more geared towards Mater. And it was like it turned into like it's like a spy movie. So like there's spy cars and they're like going up against like some evil like organization, and Mater is like an unwilling buffoon who's like a part of it. And it's like barely any line movie. It's not good. And I think like I don't know like how it all played out when these movies came out, but you could tell them like course corrected. I feel like when number 3 came out and it was like less Mater. There wasn't much Mater in that one. It was back to like racing. And it was kind of the idea that like Lightning McQueen is like the old racer now, and there's a lot of young racers. But like, dude, there's like no racing in the second one, really. Cars.
Fine.
Suck, dude. Cars 2's bad.
I mean, we could. I'll talk how to Train Your Dragon all day.
So that's a good one. Have you seen them?
Seen them all.
I've only seen the first one so far.
Oh, I love them all. I never saw the TV series. I'm very excited to watch the live action. Yeah, there's like a TV series.
Where does it take place? Is it like
after the second movie? I want to say it's kind of happens. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, who put it out? I mean, is it like same cast acting and stuff like that?
Yeah, like pretty much the same people because like they weren't really like big actors.
So the one thing I was telling my wife this about How to Train a Dragon is at the time, it feels like those actors weren't big, but I don't like now they're all kind of like big actors, like the crew, right? His friends. And I don't feel like the voices match at all. Like the one guy, it's like Jonah Hill, and I hear him and I'm like, no. And then McLovin, like I don't feel like, because now I know those people too much in like movies, and I don't feel like their voices match their characters. I find it very disconcerting with that one. So I don't know. I don't like it. But I like the movie. The movie's cool.
Yeah, I think the majority of them, if I'm looking, is like, the guy who plays Hiccup, Astrid's pretty much probably still there. Maybe, Jonah Hill definitely wasn't. Kristen Wiig played Rough Nut. A couple of, but I mean, for the most part, I think
Deadpool is one of the twins.
Yes, T.J. Miller,
the
other one. So, I never saw like I said, I never seen that, but I've watched all 3 movies. I absolutely love it. Love Toothless. He's fucking cool. So
I like that one. I had never seen it.
Watching them. Watch them all. They're good. They get better as more dragons and they expand the lore. So
I did see in the live action they casted what's his name? Is it Clive? Not Clive Owen. The one who voice casts is the dad,
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's actually really cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that when that comes out this year. So, all right, so it's gonna get into some articles, some actual real articles. First one up is coming over from Collider.com. So after 2 blockbuster flops, Sony removes untitled Marvel movie from 2025 slate. Yeah, 2.
Yeah, right, dude. Right.
Because I guess the past year. But anyway, Sony Pictures has removed an upcoming Marvel movie from their release schedule. The project was previously set to be launched in theaters on June 27, 2025. The studio didn't disclose which movie was supposed to be released this summer. The announcement came after Kraven the Hunter underperformed at the global box office during the recent holiday season. It remains to be seen what this means for the future of the franchise that started out with Venom. While the story is starring Tom Hardy as the reckless alien vigilante became hits at the box office, that can't be said about the rest of the stories Sony has released as part of their shared universe. Obviously, we're talking about Morbius, Madam Web, Kraven. So, however, as its proven results, audiences never really cared about the Sony universe attempted to build with Spider-Man villains. Now, the only upcoming release slated is the Spider-Man. At some point, we're going to get the Spider-Verse, but that's kind of animated. So, and then in 2026, we will get the new Tom Holland movie. So what the hell is Sony basically out of? Do you think that Sony should just get out of the Spider-Man superhero market?
I think they should just say, hey, look, I mean, honestly, it's costing them money. I feel like at this point, like you can hold the rights. Just they could keep doing what they're doing with Tom Holland in the Spider-Man universe, right? And just okay, Marvel, we'll let you have access to this whole thing. We're getting a cut like we do with the Tom Holland movies or however that is set up. And then, yeah, hey, we're still going to hold on to the rights. Man, I know maybe things are a little legally, trickier in that aspect than what just you and I are like pitching as of now. But I think it's been proven that they cannot make these movies, that they don't know how, and they aren't picking characters of any value. And they're not, without Spider-Man, how are you building a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man? I mean, I still haven't seen Venom 3. I'm waiting till it's free somewhere because I won't pay for it. Did you ever see Craven?
I haven't seen Craven nor Madam Web.
Okay, so I watched Madam Web, and yeah, it's rough.
I saw Venom 3 in theaters, and it was rough.
Yeah. I think that's what they do, and that but the biggest problem with this, actually, I was going to say the biggest problem is they've made these movies, right? And we talk about how when like a bad movie's made in a bad version of a character, it's almost like it needs a cool down period, right? For people to be a fan of it again.
Yep.
I think you might be okay with the Sony universe because one, I don't think a lot of people saw these movies, to be honest with you. That's part of the problem. So I think they can kind of bring them in. And I think the fans would be happy. They want to see Craven. They want to see Venom. They want to see Rhino, I don't know, maybe Morbius as well, probably in like a Midnight Suns. I don't know about Madam Web if anyone really cares, but bring them into the Marvel universe, make it part of that, the Spider-Man Marvel MCU universe. And I think you get a lot of people being forgiving, be like, cool. Okay, Craven, hell yeah. We'd love to see a Spider-Man story with Craven the Hunter hunting down Spider-Man. I mean, that's one of the best Spider-Man arcs in the history of Spider-Man. So I think fans would be forgiving to watch these characters come over, but I think it's, the fool me once, fool me twice, you're not going to fool me again. That happened with the Spelunk universe, and people were just like, nah, dude, like, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we know that Spider-Man Noir is coming out, right? We've seen photos of it.
That's a Prime
live action,
right? Is that
that's going to be on Prime.
Yeah.
There's still the Cindy Moon Silk stuff that's still out there in the multiverse.
Right? I feel like that might have been the movie they canceled.
I think, it's not Bad Bunny. Remember?
Oh,
Bad Bunny was
the Muerto one?
the Muerto, yeah. Because that was like off the record, but I can't think of what it would be. I don't know.
I forgot about that one. I mean, those are the two I can think of that were kind of like, announced or like teased.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess you'd have to go back and see what was actually announced way back when and what they were actually going to put out this year. So we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe it was Spider-Man Noir and they're pushing it back, to be honest. But that's supposed to be a TV series. So I don't know why they're talking about a movie. But yeah, whenever it comes out, the next Spider-Verse, I saw a cool meme. I saw a funny meme. It was like the year is 2040. It's just like it ends like with the second movie, and it's just like, oh, I can't wait to see this. And it's just like this movie was like 20 years old now. Like you're never getting this.
A lot of controversy with that actor too, and I don't know if that's part of the problem. I'm sure that's not helping the situation, but him being real creepy with your girl, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah. She got the stop.
Josh Allen gonna stick that dude if he ain't careful, bro.
Oh, totally.
Josh Allen gonna wreck that guy, dude. So
I don't know what I see the creepy photo of like videos with him and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so very odd.
Something weird going on.
All right. So next up, we got a cool Star Wars article. I feel like this is perfect because, with a lull in the Star Wars universe on Disney Plus, and even though we had a nice little show with Skeleton Crew, it was a fun, time to go back, read some comics. If you haven't read any of the comics, some of these comics, definitely something to check out. So over at CBR.com put together this cool list of the 10 best Star Wars comics about new characters. So Marvel's main Star Wars comic published from 2015 to 2020 focused on the main cast from the original trilogy, filling the gaps between New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. Marvel has also published many series starring fan favorites like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. Fans looking for brand new tales about the unfamiliar characters can check out the following series in the Star Wars universe. So we're going to kind of quickly go down the 10, and then we'll just kind of like maybe briefly talk about one or two. So coming in at number 10, you have the War of the Bounty Hunters leads to Crimson Reign. So that was a big thing with Charles Soule, his many iterations of this like trilogy that he did. You had The Mandalorian, Target Star Wars comics. So season 1, season 2, Thrawn, which came out well before the Ahsoka show. It was like after the Rebels. You have at number 7, you have the Star Wars comics adapts the TV series for Ahsoka. So pretty much all of season 1. Poe Dameron's parents started the New Republic. So in Star Wars Shattered Empire, there was a 4-issue miniseries. You get to see a little bit of what happened like post Return of the Jedi. Coming out at number 5, you got answers to questions from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi in Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren. Another great Charles Soule book. Coming in at number 4, the Jedi Fallen Order prequel comic, starring Siri Junda, of course, and Eno Cordova. Something that if you played the video games and you wanted to know a little bit more about the characters, you got it in this comic. Coming in at number 3, and I swear I love this comic. This is probably one of the coolest 5-issue miniseries that Marvel's done. Shadow Wing enters the Star Wars universe. Star Wars TIE Fighter, great 5-issue miniseries. Number 2, can't be said. Dr. Aphra, the rogue archaeologist, and her murder droids. And coming in at number 1 is Kanan, Jedi Padawan to Rebel. So, do you agree with this list, first of all?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few on here I would take off. I honestly don't feel like much needs to be said about like the Mandalorian and the Ahsoka ones. Honestly, I'm not impressed by, and same with the Obi-Wan they did. I'm not impressed by adaptations of something that's already done. Like, so you didn't really like, that'd be like, I don't know, I don't need those. So those are throwaways for me. Crimson Reign was great. Maybe not great. War Bounty Hunters, Crimson Reign. It was cool. I liked that they talked about Kira. I'm a big Solo fan, like the movie. Every time I watch it, I like it more. It's so good. I think it's just it got a rough deal, but I liked Kira's character kind of getting a little bit more and us seeing some more there. Obviously, yeah, the Rise of Kylo Ren, great. The Fallen Order, I mean, that's one of the best storylines in Star Wars universe since the original trilogy. Obviously, like the story going on in Fallen Order is hands down one of the best story arcs. I never read TIE Fighter. Aphra, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, kind of weak in a lot of areas. Cool character, kind of weak, and some of the stories are not good. I guess as a character, yes, cool. And then I've hands down, yeah, Kanan. The Kanan series lights out. Yeah. You? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree on probably the top 5. I agree that, the adaptations are not really considered anything. I think there's a lot more miniseries or even just characters that they've kind of introduced that have been better than that. Thrawn series is good because realistically, the only thing that we knew about Thrawn was if you read the old Timothy Zahn books, right?
Yeah.
Like Dark, Heir to the Empire, Last Command, that trilogy. So Shattered Empire is pretty cool because you get to see Poe's parents. Like that was interesting. I mean,
It was
I
like an
love TIE
anthology
Fighter.
issue, wasn't it?
What?
It's kind of like multiple stories in Shattered Empire. It was like an anthology, sort of. I can't remember that one too.
Yeah, it was like right after, kind of like it starts on Endor, and then it's like kind of a little bit post that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, TIE Fighter is such a cool thing. It it's really the old. It kind of brings you back to the old like Rogue Squadron comics from the Dark Horse age, but it's set. It's told through the eyes of the Empire, which is very few and far between because when you read those books from Dark Horse, it was always the Rogue Squadron. So it's always, the rebellion. It's always the good stuff. But Terrace is the opposite side. You're getting it from the side of the Empire. So you get these TIE Fighter pilots. You have the Shadow Wing is a completely new, division of TIE Fight. Like they're elite pilots. The whole idea with even, what's her name? I can't think of her name. She's from Alphabet Squadron. Like she's introduced in the first issue, which is another great book series that they really should adapt into comics. That's actually a lot of fun. Obviously, I love Aphra, so I definitely put her up at 2. I agree with you. There's a lot of things that are kind of like with Aphra, but yeah, hands down, like if you have not read the 12, character wise. But yeah, number 1, if it's not Darth Vader Volume 2 that I reread religiously, it's Kanan, the 12-issue miniseries from Marvel, religiously, because it's awesome. It's hands down awesome. And I feel like as Disney's continuing to merge like with this Marvel thing, these Star Wars stuff, I feel like we're going to start losing. I think we're going to lose some stuff, but I hope we gain some stuff, right? Like this was like, early days, right? The 2017 Vader. Kanan was early on in the comic stuff. Now you're kind of like pushing this order of like, I don't know what to do with the comics. I don't know what to do with these characters because I don't know where they're at, right? So, but yeah, I agree with the list. I love that they put. I'm really glad that they put TIE Fighter up very high because it's one of my favorites as well. So, good list for sure.
Yeah.
So check it over at cbr.com. I am going to drop the final article into our private chat, and Zach is absolutely going to love this one. This is a surprise. It's coming from Image Comics.
Okay.
I am so ready for this. So, Image Comics just released this Lost Fantasy ongoing series to explore a new world of magic, myth, and monsters in a video game-inspired tale. Get ready for this, folks. Bestseller writer Kurt Piles reteams with Money, a graphic novel co-collaborator artist Lucas Casalinga on Lost Fantasy, a new Image Comics coming in April. In addition to this brand new video game inspired fantasy tale, which pays homage to the popular game Final Fantasy.
Oh, the Buster Sword right there.
I know. I'm already sold on the cover.
Yeah.
The giant-sized Lost Fantasy comic will also feature a serialized backup story, Indigo Children Exodus, that continues Pyro's hit series Indigo Children. So Lost Fantasy explores an alternate history where a world of magic, myths, and monsters exists just beneath the surface of our own and is threatening to break through. Fans of East of West, I am a fan. Something is killing children. We are. We'll enjoy the monster slaying historically revisionist Lost Fantasy series with the added bonuses of the new Indigo Children mystery. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. Comes out in April. Cover B actually says Final Fantasy VII homage, so it's Cloud. I mean, the guy has the Buster Sword. It's pretty badass.
Is that the cover right there? Do you think that's it?
If you scroll down on the article.
Oh, okay. Oh,
there
we go. Oh, yeah,
you.
yeah.
So, like,
there we go. Yeah.
It actually says, yeah, it's basically.
It's like he's looking up at Shinra.
The Shinra building. So in Lost Fantasy, a magical world lies between ours, and first contact was made over 100 years ago between the two worlds due to a natural disaster, resulting in a schism that's allowed monsters to break through. Since their secret monster slayers, known as the Great Hunters, have been working with global leaders to police the border and to keep our world safe from the creatures that lurk in the shadows. But last night, something broke through, resulting in a mysterious mass killing in Montana and causing things to shift in a way that will ripple through both worlds. Now it's up to rookie monster hunter Henry Blackheart to stop it. I'm like ready for this, bro. I am so ready. Like,
yeah. That sounds cool. They got some Jai Lee covers too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you have some 1 in 25s, 1 in 50s. The Jai Lee's the 1 in 50s and 1 in 75s. So yeah, really cool stuff coming out in April. Comes out April 30th. Man, I hope that we hopefully get this one to read early.
Yeah.
Because it's cool because it's obviously, like they're saying, it's video game inspired, but it's set on our Earth, right? So it's it changes, how we always see movies and video games, post-apocalyptic stuff, Fallout,
a different world.
Yeah. It's not like that. It's just opening up the world to what it is, like magic and monsters and myth, like they say. So, thoughts?
No, it looks awesome. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm kind of want to read some of his other stuff because I don't recognize the name, knowing if I've read anything else. So now I feel like I need to go read some of his other stuff to see what I think. So Indigo Children, if they're doing a backup story, I guess I probably need to try to go read this Indigo Children stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember. What's
sci-fi is always a little hit or miss for me too. Like I like sci-fi. I'm not a big sci-fi guy. I'm definitely more fantasy than sci-fi. So
yeah,
but it just kind of depends, I guess, for me. But now I'll check out that Indigo Children to put that on my list.
Yeah, I feel like I think we read that one. I think we started it. Not gonna lie.
Doesn't sound familiar.
Just looking at the photos, I'm remembering it a little bit, but I'm pretty sure if we go back, it came out in 2023, so 6-issue miniseries. So, but yeah, so that's articles for the night. A little bit of comic stuff, a little bit of movie stuff. Let's kind of get into some reads of the week. Odd week because there was 5 weeks in January, so you didn't get a lot of good. I would say, to be honest, not a lot of great stuff.
Oh, really? I really like this week.
I don't know. I was like hit or miss. There's
Okay.
some. You know what it is, because when you get that 5th week, it throws off like the normal scheme
It
of
can,
like,
yeah, for sure.
there's always they're going to throw you a lot of one shots. They're going to throw you annuals. They're going to
Mhm.
throw you just like random stuff. So, let's get into it. For me, uh, I got it, like, not hot garbage, but just I should say not hot garbage, but just the series is just lacking are these what ifs. These what if
Oh,
Galactus books.
not even reading those. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I
No
I mean,
way.
I have to read this week's because it was what if Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Because they did
just can
Gambit too, right? And
They did
Rogue and
Gambit,
yeah.
they did Hulk. They're
Yeah.
just so unreadable, like, to a point. They're just like, I mean, like, like Spider-Gwen's good. She's saving somebody, and then she basically says, "I'll be your herald," and by the end of the issue, she's like turning on him. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is. It's exactly what it is.
Isn't that always the story? Like, isn't that
Of
the
course,
base
yeah.
story with Galactus, right? Like, oh, I don't like you killing planets. Like, that's Silver Surfer's story. That's his story. Yeah.
I mean, we're at 2025. There's got to be what ifs that they could do over the past 20 years that haven't been done, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be that. So, TMNT number 6, loving
Yeah.
TMNT.
So good, dude.
So good.
What's your thoughts on the art for this? Because it was definitely an art change here.
Yeah. So, the first couple issues was done by the female artist. Shit, I can't think of her name. What was her name? I should just go grab our variant, to be honest. I can't think. It was different.
Yeah, it was
You know
different.
what? But
I
it's
didn't hate it.
yeah, I didn't hate it either. I do like, it's funny when you're like watching now that you're reading it, or
Mhm.
when you're looking at it, you can obviously tell who Donatello is right off the bat without even looking, because he's
Yeah.
just like,
Oh yeah.
he's so frail.
Yeah,
Uh,
skeletal legs and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you know what it is? I feel like this is the perfect time for Ninja Turtles. Even if you didn't read like the last 50 issues of
Mhm.
Ninja Turtles from IDW, because maybe you just weren't following up. But I really like the dynamic. There's a lot of change, right? There's Splinter's not there. They're fighting. The turtles have been around for what, like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So now you get this dichotomy where they hate, they fight each other. There's a lot of yeah, that's what it is. Inbred fighting, like,
Yeah.
you
A lot of
know,
animosity built up and
exactly.
resentment built up with them.
Exactly. They're coming back to the city. The city hates them. The foot is kind of taken over, undercover. But yeah, I think, what Jason Aaron's doing is some pretty badass stuff with the Ninja Turtles, and I look forward to see, where things are going to go. I'm sure we're going to get like the Night Watcher. Sure, we're going to
Yeah.
get some more mutants.
You
Um,
I do feel like you kind of have to be reading the other titles though, like Mutant Nation and
mhm.
Night Watcher hasn't kind of like came into this main run yet. But like if
Nope.
you're not reading Mutant Nation, you don't know what happened to Casey Jones, which was wild. Honestly, I thought in the issue of Mutant Nation, I thought they killed him.
Mhm.
Because they beat the hell out of Casey Jones. And then you find out in this issue he's like in a coma. And honestly, I don't know why I didn't talk about this like when that came out. But I remember reading that issue and being like, dude, they just murked Casey Jones. Like, no way, dude. But so yeah, you do kind of got to read some of these other titles a little bit. But
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's good. I like it too.
Definitely. Let's see. West Coast Avengers,
Yeah.
loving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loving Ultron.
I'm loving it. I don't maybe not I don't maybe I'm not at the love level. I
Okay.
am liking Bolt more. Uh I'm liking that guy a lot more.
I don't know him too well,
Yeah.
but I like how the team that they have, right?
Mhm.
This kind of at the end of issue 2, you kind of got Firestar in there, but this whole idea that Ultron is kind of he split himself into multiple beings, and there's
Mhm.
different versions of him. So they have like the Red Ultron, who's good, who we talked about, before this series was coming out. You're like, oh my god, how's Ultron going to be like a good guy, right?
Yeah.
And then you have basically
Like
this
the
cult
cult. Yeah.
that Ultron is kind of creating, that it's all about peace, and he'll help you with whatever it is. So let's just say you're very sick, you're going to die. He's kind of like changing you for the better, making you live, but he doesn't want violence. He wants peace. So,
Mhm.
but it's very, and it's a very holy,
But he's
religious.
also very unforgiving if you mess
Yes,
up. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Another issue this week that I thought was very good because it's kind of been kind of something that's been happening, obviously, in the Superman world was the Superman Lex Luthor special, the one shot. So we all know that Lex lost his memory during the House of Brainiac stuff. This issue is kind of flashbacks, not so much of him as a bad guy, but more of him as a child and what he happened growing up and why maybe he's suppressing stuff and that's why he can't remember who he is. But eventually, by the end of the issue, we have, what we think is, Lex back to being Lex because
Mm.
he needs, he needs to help, whether it's Superman or the Justice League. Um, Real quick, I know we're going to talk about it. Um, like I said earlier, the Power Lords from Oni Press from our buddy V Ken Marion. I have no idea who the Power Lords were.
Me neither.
I read it because I was, we're fans of Ken.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like an 80s action figure line. So that's the kind of way I look at it,
Mhm.
basically. All the characters are kind of like, comes like a team. Cool characters, interesting stuff. I think it's like a 5-issue miniseries. So, of course, we love supporting Ken. So, if you check out something from Oni Press, most shops don't order everything, but if you want something different. And I mean, some of the characters are badass. And it's funny when I was like reading it after I got done reading and I went on Google and I did like look up these characters. I was like, wow, that is way different than what these characters look like from like the 80s. So I'll pick one more and then I know we're going to talk about it. So let's do let's do Hornsby and Halo #3 as well from the Ghost Machine.
Yeah.
Uh, great,
Yeah.
so good.
So good.
Rosie and Zack, they're just so good. Like I love it. I love the dichotomy between the two. It's so much fun. You're getting a lot of this issue. You get a lot of lore, right?
Yes.
There's a lot
Yeah.
more stuff that's building behind the scenes. Like who can you trust? Who do you see in these comics that you're like, are they
Mhm.
just like a normal person, or are they somebody from heaven or hell? Are they going to change some things? But man, I absolutely love the Hornsby and Halo series right now. It's probably
Yeah.
my second favorite behind Hyde Street.
Okay. Out of the Ghost Machine. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know like Rook Exodus was great too,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think just like 3 issues in, I
Oh,
really
it's
like this
great.
one.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not a bad choice. Yeah.
So, I mean, other than that, let's kind of get into your books, and
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're going to talk about this, so let's
Which
talk
one?
about Book of Cutter.
You want to do that one right now? Right now?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
talk about this right now.
Um, I en- look, man, it's frustrating because I actually enjoyed Book of Cutter.
Mhm.
Because it's like once again, boom, we're getting lore. Like these the best books they've put out have been these books: the Book of Slaughter, the Book of Cutter, the Book of Butcher. Those
Mhm.
have been the best because you're actually getting like history and lore. Like I found it to be extremely interesting until we got to the only part that like kind of drug for me was the letter portion where I was like, oh my God, dude, how many letters did this dude write? But like, I liked the breakdown of the history of the houses, right? So, like, the original dragon, the two brothers, one went to like London, one went to Paris, and then like how they colonialized more or
Mhm.
less, like the Order of St. George. So, I think it was, I very much enjoyed it. And I've been shitting on Something's Killing Children universe for a little while. It finally is moving the story forward, in my opinion, with a character and like, okay, we're going somewhere. Maybe I need to go back and reread. I don't understand the input, the importance they put on like Erica. I just, to
Mhm.
me, I'm kind of like, what is the deal here? Why are you guys so obsessed with this one black mask? But I liked it. I really did like it, but it frustrates me because I just don't like, where are we going? So I
Yeah.
don't know. What'd you think?
Yeah, same thing. When you're reading about the House of Cutter and everything that happened in the Western expansion, and then they talk about trying to expand into the Far East, and then
Yes.
how
Yeah.
when they came over here to America, and colonized here, there was still monsters or dragons or whatever. And
in other orders too. Like they talk about the Far East, like there's other monster hunter orders that they have kind of like run up against. So there could be like some battles between monster hunter. That seems pretty cool. That sounds
yeah,
kind of interesting. Like
the only thing that
Japanese
bothers me,
ones?
is like I didn't really know if I was reading a book or like a novel, because that where
Yeah.
you get a lot of the lore is from the script things, where
Right.
it's more books and there's nothing to be said. But like we've always said, there's no, like, show me some monsters. Like, let's get
Yes.
into fighting. I
Yeah.
don't care. There's a lot of politics, right? With
Yeah.
Maxine and her head, the guy.
Cecilia and then the dude.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so much politics that's going on in the Order of St. George, and that's not the book. Like, the book is called Something is Killing the Children. Let's see what's killing these children. Like,
Yeah.
let's see some monsters. Like, I'm
Yeah.
tired of just reading characters and like learning. I mean, I guess love the lore.
Mhm.
It was a great issue for the lore, and
Right.
like you said, the Book of Butcher and
Book of
you know,
Slaughter.
Book of Slaughter, a lot of cool stuff. But let's get to the point where we actually see them fighting different monsters and creatures. Okay,
Yeah.
now they're in London. Let's see a cool creature from London, right?
Right. They talk about, what was it in one of the like the lore portions? They basically talk about, because the Book of Cutter, that guy, like they imply that he was like fighting like Loch Ness monsters and stuff, right? Like monsters specific to the region, And then, like you said, they talk about the Far East. I'm like, dude, what kind of like are we going to see like Onis and like cool Japanese monsters? Like that would be really sweet.
Mhm.
Not these, honestly, and I feel like the monsters they did. I think I talked about this last week. Like the monsters that they have suck, dude. They're just like, I don't find them cool. It would have been cooler to have like traditional monsters, in my opinion,
Yeah.
like lore type monsters. So,
Well, we'll see. I mean, it ends where and saying that it's going to pick up and something is killing the children, right? But
yeah,
like that's the whole thing with Maxine. So
right.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Whether we get actual fighting or are we going to get fighting in the houses, which I think
Mhm.
is not what I expected from this series.
Right. Right.
But what else you got?
Oh man, so there was a bunch of good ones. Some honorable mentions. Psylocke 3 was great. I'm really enjoying the Psylocke run. I love Grey Crow and Psylocke together. There's an introduction of like a new villain, which seems really cool. And I love Psylocke. And to kind of have, obviously it's Quanon, but it's more like traditional Psylocke that we've had that about, right? Not so such a great issue. I read Hell Hunters. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to pick this. This is issue 2. It's a little mini series, and it's kind of takes place during World War II, and it deals with like a different spirit of vengeance. You got Nick Fury, you got Captain Carter or Peggy Carter, and you got the what's his name, the Soldier Supreme Sebastian Zardos, which we'd seen somewhere else before in like a alternate
Mhm.
universe. This issue we have Wolverine kind of show up, and it actually was pretty cool. Like I'm enjoying this little mini series. It's fun, so definitely try that out if you're looking for something like kind of fun with like supernatural and mainstay type characters. Um, quickly, some other ones. I really enjoyed Thundercats issue 12. Even though it moved away from Lion-O, we kind of were left on a cliffhanger from the previous issue of him kind of being like taken hostage by Mumra. We get a little bit more into like the rest of the Thundercats. We actually see like the kind of the culmination of the relationship again with Tigra and Chitara, which is cool. A little bit more with Panthro and the Cubs. So I
Yeah.
enjoyed that issue quite a bit, and a lot more with the reptilians, right? So
Yeah, we're
progressing the
moving,
storyline.
we're moving into the mutants. So.
Yeah, the Vulture Man, more about
Mhm.
Slythe. I thought that was really cool. So I enjoyed that issue. Some new books that I checked out, some number ones. Well, hold on, before we get to that, some hot garbage, I guess. I read the Storm Life Dream, and when I say read, I didn't really read it. I kind of like skimmed it. It seemed lame to me. And it was like multiversal storms and like the 616 storm, and they kind of talk about it, and it might play into something larger down the road, but yeah, I was very uninterested in it. I liked that they did show Bloodstorm from like the Mutant X when she was like a vampire. Like that's one of the best versions of Storm. So I kind of wish they would have shown more of that, but that one kind of not great. But some number ones that I read, I checked out, and I think it's just a one shot, really. Blood Train by Image Comics. It was like a horror basically vampires slash zombie type story on a train. It was kind of cool. It wasn't bad, but I think it's just like an anthology one shot type story. But if you're looking for something a little horror-esque, check that one out. But if you really are kind of looking for something horror to kind of stick on the train, to ride the train, there was another title. Hold on, let me find it because it's like almost similar. It's like Train of Blood or Kill Train. Okay. So Mad Cave Studios had a book come out called Kill Train #1. Interesting concept. It's like in New York, and it's sometime, I'm assuming, in the future. And they haven't really explained what's going on necessarily, but there's like a population control issue, right? So like you go down and you ride the train and you might be good. You might be running the subway, but randomly every once in a while, there is a kill train and you just get on this train and they kill everyone on the train. Everyone, they let loose like psychopaths to like murder you on the train. And initially it started out with like a kill team, and it was a little bit more like, for lack of a better word, like kosher, I don't know, or like humane. It was like a kill squad, like SEAL-esque type people. They're just like one shot to the head and you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
But now I guess they're releasing like lunatics, like insane asylum people, and they're like slicing your throat. But it's like clearing out the like I said, a population control issue. So people are not riding the train because it's like a lottery of potentially like you could die. And but like cabs are more expensive. Like people who the poor don't have an option, right? Like they have to ride the public transport. So anyway, the first issue starts and there's a big murder. The first issue, everyone dies on this train, like right at the start. And so they kind of like say that this is going to be one of the last ones. Like I think they might even say there's going to be one more killing and then we're good. We've reached the quota type idea. It's like kind of what they're saying on the news. And so the main character, she's kind of down on her luck. She's not having like a good situation. And with like her job and trying to like write scripts or some shit like that, Hollywood type stuff. And she ends up having to ride the train, and everyone's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like, there'll never be a kill train right after the one that just happened. It's they don't do them back to back." And she gets on the train, and they're all riding it, and it starts skipping stops, and so everyone's like, "Oh no, it's kill train!" And like this lunatic comes and is like killing people, slicing throats, and that's the end of issue 1. And so it's like a very much feels like Squid Game in a way, right? Because everyone's like there and they're dying, and it's like Running Man, and like. It's cool. It's very creepy and interesting, dude. You should check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. It was a good one. So another #1. Did you read Silverhawks?
I did. I only know the Silverhawks. Like
I don't know them very well either.
Yeah, it's definitely not nostalgic.
Yeah,
where I feel like I relate to it.
Right.
So I mean, I definitely read it. I just don't know I don't know the characters as well as like maybe another 80s.
Right. Same. But, and I could be completely wrong here because like we just said, we don't really know it that well. It seems like the characters that they showed are like the main characters, maybe from like the TV series, they're all older now. And so I thought that if this is the way it is, I think this is a really good take. So they've taken your classic nostalgic characters, the team maybe who were the Silverhawks and what everyone is used to, and they're older and they're like retiring. But now they got a new team of Silverhawks coming in, and they have to like stay on and train a new team. So I think it's like a good idea of like, hey, like people like us who don't have a lot of tie to it, don't have it, you know, we don't have to know the lore, and you can get new characters and stuff. So if that's what's happening, that's kind of how I took it from my limited knowledge. I thought it was a good take on a new series, and it's Ed Brisson, who I enjoy. So yeah, I'll probably continue to check that one out.
Nice.
Let's see. I think there's 2 more I want to talk about. Oh, the seasons. The seasons #1.
Yeah, I read that as well. The Rick Remender. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was just like I was like, oh my gosh, where are we going? Hurry up! Like,
but it's interesting. So the seasons is done by Rick Remender, which what was he just doing as well?
He's still doing Sacrificers right now, which I enjoy.
I
love the Sacrificers.
So I enjoyed. So the majority of the book is done almost shot for shot, like if you're watching a movie where so there's 4 sisters, their last names are season, and their first names are spring, autumn, fall, and winter, which is really cool. That's a cool concept.
Yeah.
Because I read the end of the book and how he explained that, him him and the writer were talking, the artist were talking about this during COVID and stuff like that. And the way the majority of the issue is she's like a postmaster, and like this one letter goes flying, and she's like trying to catch it. But every panel is kind of, it's a continuation of her trying to get it, and things are happening.
It's very whimsical.
Yes, but it's also world building. So, she's running by and she's seeing all these people that are in her town. So you're getting an idea where she's from.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what's cool. But then it kind of leaves, and she finally gets the letter. She reads it. It's from her sister, and you find out that there's some like mystery that's going on. So I definitely think it's an interesting concept, and it can go somewhere.
Yeah,
for sure. I like like I said, I like the idea that it's gonna be 4 sisters. They're all seasons names, and it's gonna be like a who done it type of thing.
Yeah, it's got some room to grow for sure. And Remender's awesome, so it's worth the reads. And then so the last 2 I want to talk about, dude, this isn't, if this was hard on which one I was going to talk about. I posted about this earlier today, but the X-Men number 10 issue was insanity and so good about Cyclops. Like, I hate talking to people who are like, Cyclops sucks, he's such a boring character. And there's so many issues that I could show you that you were wrong. And this is one of them. And it's modern, right? So like, just Cyclops is such a boss, dude. Like, he's light years ahead of everyone. Everyone in the Marvel universe says that he is the biggest strategic mind. And actually what pissed me off recently? What issue was it? Oh, it was Phoenix, dude. Last week, Phoenix said something to Captain Marvel. She's like, you probably have like the best strategic mind out of everyone. And I'm like, bitch, that's your husband. Who are you about your husband? Like, I was so pissed. But dude, like, Cyclops is just the best. And he like owns this dude, puts him in his place, the guy from the O&E. And I loved the group of the Hellions because they brought back the Bedlam brothers, who are so awesome. I love Jesse and Christopher Bedlam. Kind of seeing them in like Age of Apocalypse, like together. You've really seen more Jesse Aronson, like in some of the late X-Force run, the first volume. Christopher Bedlam, King Bedlam, was kind of like a bad guy and showed up a little bit here and there. So the Bedlam brothers together, they had Phantom X, they had Boom Boom. Who else? Oh, Locust, and just a cool team, dude. Really, really cool stuff. But the highlight obviously was just Cyclops and the stuff he's saying. And like, in a nutshell, he also tells the O&E guy, like, he's like, do something, dude. Like, as you're sitting here, like, messing with me, my guys are wrecking your different facilities around the nation, and you are losing funding because you're going to have to go rebuild them. You're going to have to do this. Every second you waste, they're destroying a new one. And the guy threatens to kill him. And it's like, I was like, I don't really care. You kill me, and it's going to make your problem even larger. Not only are you going to martyr me, and you have mutant problems, but my wife is going to come back from space. Like, he just straight up tells him, like, dude, my wife will come back and wreck you. You want the Phoenix Force down here? Like, he's like, I don't even know. He's like, I'm protecting you. Is basically what he tells him. I'm protecting you because my wife will destroy this planet. And then even the interaction with like Quentin Quire at the end too, where Quentin's like, hey man, like, should we be worried about like if something happens to you, if Jean comes down? And he kind of tells him like, no, dude, that's why you're on the team. Like, you were a previous Phoenix Force holder and you're a Omega level telepath. Like, and you can see Quentin's like, oh shit, dude, that's a lot of responsibility. So, dude, such a great issue. And Stegman's cover, I love this cover.
So you posted.
I would love to get some OA of this. I'd like to get this cover. It's just fantastic. So such a great issue, but hands down, this is really tough because I love that issue so much. But Redcoat number 9, dude, you got to pick up Redcoat. I know you haven't got there yet on the Ghost Machine stuff. This issue, it was so great. It's the introduction of Johnny Appleseed. So, it's historical characters, and you have like Simon Pure. You interact with like Benedict Arnold, George Washington, those kind of guys. And in this issue, we have the introduction of Johnny Appleseed, and they have like a friendship, and they meet up once a year, and they kind of have like little adventures. And Johnny Appleseed is just this really good person. He's, for the people, he helps everyone out. And he's kind of coaching Simon in a way, like, hey man, there's more to you. You're not Simon. Like, is like, oh, I'm kind of a piece of shit, and he kind of is, but like Johnny Appleseed is very much like, you're not, dude, there's more to you. There's more in your core. And Johnny can see magic. So he sees there's a lot of magic going on in this issue. It was really cool. And it's just fun to see characters like Johnny Appleseed. They mentioned like Headless Horseman.
That's cool.
Yeah, and not the Headless Horseman, but a Headless Horseman. So it's just like, honestly, when I'm reading it, our nation is young, right? In comparison to nations globally. And you don't think about us necessarily having a rich lore or history or like folklore, so to speak. But like we do. It's not as good as like, I don't say not as good. It's not as rich and as like, England. We don't have like King Arthur and stuff like that. But like we do have characters, folklore characters in the history, and them kind of tapping into this, I think is really cool because it's not something we've seen a lot in comics. I don't remember. No, Johnny Appleseed. This is probably Johnny Appleseed's first appearance in comic books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, true.
it's awesome.
I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is Manifest Destiny, like Lewis and Clark stuff, like,
and maybe Undiscovered
know.
Country as well, which is not like really hitting lore, but it's kind of more about America. But yeah, dude, so good, man. Jeff Johns is crushing it with Red Coat. You said Hornsby is your number 2 to Hyde Street.
And then Rook Exodus.
Honestly, it's hard for me to rank them because it might be a 3-way tie, and maybe Rook is 3 because I think Red Coat and
Red Coat's kind of been going for a while.
Yeah,
Geiger has also been going for a while, so it's kind of tough. Like I'm sure like the Rockefellers is also
it's good too.
Yeah. I mean they're good. It's just the number of issues that are out, right?
Yeah,
like
I'm
a big like. I like the whole religion thing, like the heaven and hell stuff is just so cool.
Really cool. Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of up there. Obviously, Hyde Street. Technically Hyde Street is 4 issues because it's 3 plus the Devour.
So, like horror aspect though.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should try Red Coat. I think you'd really enjoy it. And honestly, I saw the post. I don't know who posted this. Maybe it was Jeff Johns, and he is not wrong. Whatever. I think it was issue 8 that they wrote, where it was like the issue with him saying goodbye to Albert Einstein on his like deathbed. That deserves an Eisner Award. Like that was one of the most beautifully written comic book issues I have read in my lifetime. Such a good issue. So anyway, Red Coat, X-Men number 10, Red Coat number 9, X-Men number 10, picks of the week by far. I feel like there was another Hot Garbage, but maybe not Hot Garbage. I'm going to start using that term. Did you read the Star Wars New Legacy?
Yeah,
I didn't do that.
Surprised you didn't. Yeah.
No, hell no.
It's I didn't want to talk about it. I was hoping you would talk about it, but you teased it. You kind of teased it a little bit last week with the whole like who's on the cover,
right?
And it's kind of one main story, with like Aphra, the droids, Black Chrysanthemum, Lord Momin, Sana. Man, like Lord Momin was such a cool character in Darth Vader Volume 2, and they brought him back, and it was just like so stupid. Like so stupid.
Yeah.
It was not good. Valance is in there. It was not good. So I really, they need to put on a good writer for like Aphra, because again, Volume 1 kicked off with Kieran Gillen. It was great. First 15 issues or so were great, and then they switched writers, and then it was not as great, but it was definitely better than Volume 2. And obviously when she was with the first series of Vader, for the most part, again, that was Kieran as well. So that's what you get. So I don't know. I need a good writer to write her. Like someone who can do an adventure archaeologist type of thing. So But yeah, that's it. That's our reads for the week. Again, shortly we will be on the Uncensored Nerds Network, exclusively on Spotify. So this is one of the few last episodes here on the podcast, on our channel for the TheComiCompodcast. We appreciate all the listeners, of course, whatever platform you're listening to on, but make sure you're subscribing to Uncensored Nerds Network, and you'll hear us shortly over there. So
get that free Spotify. There's a free Spotify. Get it. Get with a friend, do a family if you need to, something like that. But yeah, definitely switch over to Spotify if you're not there.
Yeah. And of course, check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, before you get out of here. Get a little discount. I just got some stuff that we're going to be giving away for once we get over there on the Uncensored Nerd Network. So peace out, everybody. Have a great week. Later. Hey, comic book collectors. Do you want to protect what you collect? Do you hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code ComicCom15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.